While Nikki Haley won't even criticize Donald Trump's criticism of Nikki Haley is getting both more vicious and more constant and, what do you know, more racist. Here is what Donald Trump recently bleated about Nikki Haley. He started talking about someone else, Governor Chris Sununu, the now failing governor of New Hampshire, who said, by the way, that he would vote for Trump. So you got a lot of points for that, buddy. Good work. Where I am beating his endorsed candidate, Nimrada, by big numbers. And we're gonna stop there for a second. Okay, so you all know what he's doing, right? Her name's not Nikki. It's a different thing. It's a weird thing. It's a scary and suspicious thing. And we should just talk about that. That should actually be the thing that she loses for. And you know what? Because she comes from a different place and she's not good like us white people, we're not even gonna use her actual real name. We say you shouldn't come up with a new name for yourself. And meanwhile, we're gonna come up with a new name for her. So gradually he's been removing letters from her name to come up with something Nimrada. I don't even know what that is. And as usual, I am scared to scratch the surface because I'm worried it's gonna be some Nazi thing. I don't know, but I know that it's not her name. And I know that that's the point. It is to point out she's a foreigner, she's a weirdo. Never mind the fact that I put her in my administration a few years ago. She can't be trusted and she shouldn't even be respected enough to say her actual name. I'm not even saying the name that she wants to be known by. But if we're gonna say that the only thing that counts is what's on your birth certificate, we're not even gonna use that. And I know that that's not just a typo because he filled the bleat with it. Multiple references to Nimrada. And it just feels like it's one of those things that seemingly makes no sense, but we all get where he's going with it. Like when he calls like prosecutors peekaboo, we know exactly what the point of that, even if it makes no rational sense. Sharon, what do you think about this?
You're absolutely correct again. I sat in the audience or in the press area in South Carolina the first go around when there were all those Republicans on the stage and Donald Trump was talking about people's looks. And I remember Rand Paul saying, look, this is like a middle schooler, juvenile. Do we want people with their finger on the button who are calling these kinds of names and doing these things? And people laughed, when Donald Trump pointed and said, I haven't said anything about his looks. And believe me, there's a lot of material there. People thought that was funny. Only now we're post January 6th. And what Nikki Haley doesn't realize is by not taking on a bully, not being brave enough to do it. And again, I want to blame Donald Trump for Donald Trump's actions, but it's the enablers at this point. He's not going to stop, so we have to call them out. By not taking him on, in 2 seconds, he can unleash the Kraken. What did she call it? MAGA can be turned on her so quickly. Right now, it's nothing because for a while he thought, well, this is cute. We'll let them go play over there and I'll be making my little speeches and calling more names. But if he wants to really harm her and use her ethnicity, use her skin, all of that, her birth name to harm her by butchering that, he can. Yeah. It's a very serious thing. So I know the last time I was on with you, I blamed her for this predicament. I'm not blaming her outright because of course he's played this number from the beginning, but she's part of the problem. She can't help anyone else if she can't stand up and say this is wrong.
Yeah, and unfortunately, she understands that she cannot do that and have a chance of winning a Republican primary. She just can't do that. And we're gonna turn to sort of like that context in a little bit, but this is just, it should be beneath us. I know it's 2024. It's not. We're terrible as a country, as a culture. We're the worst. But I wish that this was below us. I wish that this wasn't successful. No matter who it ended up being that was gonna be the final one to go up against Donald Trump, he was going to be absolutely vicious. And it didn't matter if they'd previously served in his administration or he'd previously said nice things about them. She put out this ad of all the times he's complimented her. It doesn't matter. He turns on people, and it literally doesn't matter what has happened in the past, every single time. But if it was DeSantis, that would be one thing. He'd call him pudding fingers or whatever. He'd make fun of his heels. It would be really insulting. It'd be below us. It'd probably get into some homophobic territory and stuff like that. Here is the thing with it being Haley. Republicans love candidates being mocked by Trump, but there's nothing they love more than a woman being attacked by Donald Trump, except maybe if it's a woman of color, they can't wait for the racist and misogynistic comments they're gonna make about him, and they're gonna be freed up to do even worse. Wait until you see the t-shirts that they're gonna be wearing at Trump rallies. It is gonna get to a really dark place. Like, they delighted in attacking Hillary Clinton, but this is gonna be even better for them because now they can get into the racial stuff and the name stuff. And anyway, what the point that I'm getting to is that we live in a deeply racist country, and I know that everyone watching this doesn't need to learn that, but the one person that apparently does is Nikki Haley, because she's the one who's still denying it.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.